Hello there, guys. This is Teacher Krishna, and welcome to our next class for the third unit. This is a class that is part of Beehive School in the grade of 9th high school. Just like you know, our subject is biology, and the week we are going to be having today is week number 22. So, remember to have your notebook with you in order to make today's summary. That is extremely important because remember that we are not going to have digital summaries anymore, but you have to actually make them in your notebook. These are the parts that you need to include in your summary. Number 1, the date. Number 2, end in mind. Number 3, the title. Number 4, summary. And number 5, some extra decoration. Keep in mind that you need to follow a certain color pattern. And the title, end in mind, as well as the subtitles have to include the colors red and blue. The rest of the summary must include red and black. So go ahead, go for your materials, and once you are ready, you can go back to the video. All right, so today we're going to be studying topic 3.06, mutations. And the end in mind for today is this one. Distinguish between different types of mutations. Explain why mutations may or may not affect phenotype. So, remember that we had already studied this topic before. So this is like part 2 of topic 3.06. So we are going to finish today's topic, and you have to complete a worksheet related to this topic as well. Here you have a small summary of the activities that you need to complete today. Number 1, watch this video and make a summary. That's basically what you are doing right now, right? Number 2, read pages 5 to 8 of topic 3.06 and complement your summary. So in this video, I included most of the information from those pages, but it is always necessary to reinforce my students' reading skills. So in order to do that, I need you to go to those pages and, of course, complement the summary that you got from this video. Number 3, go to page number 8. Click on the instructions section and follow the instructions to complete the worksheet. This is what I was telling you about. You need to complete the worksheet from page number 8. If you have any doubts about the instructions or how to complete them, you can always contact me in WhatsApp. And number 4, upload your worksheet to the evaluation for topic 3.06. Those are basically the activities that you need to complete today. All right, so let's continue. Now we're going to start talking a little bit about the topic for today. And we're going to start by reviewing some examples of mutations. So basically what you can see right over here, they are, well, that is blood. And these are some blood cells. But you might have noticed that we have this that is here. Probably you might think that this is cholesterol or another component of blood. But in fact, that is a blood cell as well. So how is it possible that it is a blood cell? Well, because it is a mutation in the organism. Right, so it is a sickle cell. Red blood cells are larger and stickier than usual. They block the normal flow of blood in the vessels, which causes obstruction, translated in severe pain. Usually occurs in tropical zones. On the other hand, the people with this mutation are highly resistant to parasites. So remember that a mutation is a change in the genetical code, and of course a change in the production of proteins that is given in the cell. So these sickle cells from the blood can even cause the amputation of one of the limbs of the person. So if the mutation is too severe and it is obstructing the vessels of a whole limb in a person, then it has to be amputated. Because what happens is that the heart and the whole organisms are going to be trying to like push a little bit more blood into that limb, because the organism is going to perceive that not enough blood is getting in there. So the more the heart tries to pulse in the blood inside the limb, then the more affected it will become. So it can actually shorten the lifetime of a person. All right, we have a non-disjunction. It happens when the pair of chromosomes fail to separate correctly during the anaphase 1 or anaphase 2. Of course, since we have anaphase 1 and anaphase 2, we are talking about the meiosis process in which the genetical information is supposed to be divided in even parts, which does not happen in mutations. So the result is a gamete with an extra copy of the chromosome or without a copy of this. It is responsible for syndromes such as the Down syndrome, an extra chromosome in chromosome 21. So you have to notice that cells are constantly dividing. They are dividing all the time. And this process is most of the time accurate, which means that it follows its normal process and actually no mutations happen. But in some people, this process fails due to that specific issue that happened during the meiosis process. An extra chromosome can cause problems such as the Down syndrome that is specified in here. We have also the cystic fibrosis. It is a recessive genetic disease. It causes the extra mucus to build up in the lungs and in the digestive organ. The responsible molecule is a protein called cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator, or CFTR if you want to use the acronym. And this is another example of a very harmful mutation. So one more time, this can shorten the lifetime of a person when the symptoms are too severe and actually like the mucus on the lungs are building up way too much. It is going to cause a person to have a lot of problems when breathing. Right, so let's continue. Here we have another example of mutations, but these are like artificial mutations which happen due to artificial selection. So we have some mutations in insects. These organisms adapt and become more resistant to pesticides. This type of mutation can also be seen in bacteria and it's equivalent to medicine. And what happens is that, of course, based on the theory of evolution of Darwin, if an organism doesn't adapt, then it dies. And in this case, a lot of farmers need to use pesticides in order to fight against plagues that might eat and, of course, destroy all of their plantations. So if these organisms want to still be alive and they still want to consume the food from different places, they need to have a mutation in their DNA. All right, so that's one of the examples of mutations in insects. Mutations can also happen in humans. They adapt and become more resistant to certain disease. And I have a very nice example right now with the coronavirus. So there have been several studies that have been done in which if a person, first of all, gets coronavirus, and the person manages to heal from the virus, then its body is going to start segregating the new proteins that is going to help their immunitary system to fight the coronavirus. And the people that actually have won the coronavirus, they are more resistant to the virus, which is an example of the mutation. So if those people that are already were cured from the coronavirus have children, their children are going to be more resistant to the virus. And it's exactly how people start adapting and fighting against disease. Right? We have also breeding. The best plants and animals specimens are chosen to trespass their genetical material to the upcoming generations. So here we have a very nice example of breeding, or artificial breeding. So at some point in history, wolves and humans started collaborating among each other. But at the end, humans started to select the organisms or the specimens that they consider more attractive. And at the end, from a wolf, there were several species that were coming from this certain wolf. Like we have the Doberman or the Dalmata, some Chihuahua as well, which are basically mutations that people consider to be the most beautiful ones or the most domestic ones. So they started choosing those specific organisms with the mutations, and they continue with breeding them among each other. So that's why now we have many different races of dogs nowadays. And now I have some questions for you. What is polyploidy and what is a mutagen? So please go over Agilex and find the answer in there. Of course, you need to write those answers in the summary for today. All right, now I have an exercise as well for you. Please go to page number 6 and complete the reflecting on core concepts exercise. That is going to help you out to refresh your mind and double check your understanding of the topic. When you are done, come back to the video. All right, and lastly, we're going to talk about cancer. So it is a disorder in which cells lose the ability to regulate their growth. Cells divide uncontrollably, group up, and form what we know as tumors. Some tumors are benign, which means that they are unharmful, and others are malignant, which means that they are harmful. The last type invade the surrounding tissue and destroy it. If the cancerous cell affects essential systems or organs, the life of the organism can be threatened. And there are certain components that can cause cancer, such as the tobacco. So, some general comments about cancer. Cancer is a mutation that happens in humans. And what happens is that, let's imagine that we already have like the normal cell cycle, right? So, in the normal cell cycle, what happens is that cells already have a defined amount of cells or a defined amount of how many times they have to divide in a day or how many times they have to divide in a week or during their lifetime, right? But when cancer happens, then it is this disorder in which cells cannot regulate their growth and they cannot regulate their reproduction anymore. So they just continue reproducing themselves over and over and over until a tumor is formed. And of course, just like we analyzed, there are some tumors that are not harmful, but there are others that are. And the tumors that are actually malignant, they are going to be affecting other tissues that surround them. And there are many tumors in many locations in which they can appear around the body. The tumors can appear in your lungs, they can appear in one of your veins, in one of your limbs, even in your head they can appear. So that's basically what cancer is about. And just like it's mentioned in the last part, there are some components or mutagens that are going to increase the probabilities of an organism to have cancer, just as tobacco. So if a person smokes way too much, that person is in danger of actually acquiring cancer in a later stage of that person's life. All right, so that's basically it for today's lesson, guys. Thank you a lot for coming, and I will be seeing you around during the mid-session. So goodbye, and always take care of yourselves.